I am
I
recording.
am recording.
Ba, ba, ba.
Ba-ba-ba.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 638th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. I had to buy more storage in Pokemon Sleep today.
Oh, gosh.
Not with actual money, just with gems, just with free gems. I
Hmm.
still haven't spent any money on this, but I think my Pokemon storage is almost maxed out.
Okay. All right. Bobby is here.
47. Does anybody know what 47 symbolizes? It is the number of non-shiny Zacian that I now have in Pokemon Go. And you know how many shiny Zacian I have? 0. In Pokemon Go. 0. I
Yeah.
have 0. And I'm not raiding Zamazenta at all. I'm done. I'm done with raids for a while.
It's a good scam night because running over there.
Yeah. I'm sad. I'm really sad. That was
Not a good day. Not your best look.
No, I was rushing around downtown San Diego on the last day that it was available, like the morning before 10 a.m., trying to just get whatever raids I could. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, Bobby, I got 3 shiny Zamazentas in like 15 raids.
Zamazenta already?
Or sorry, Zacian.
Okay.
Well, you're going to trade me one hopefully one day.
Yeah,
when we see each other.
You can definitely have one.
Okay.
Are we lucky friends? We might be lucky. I'm unsure.
Possibly. I'll take a lucky shiny Zacian.
Also, speaking of scams, we do have a scam that we're going to talk about at the end of the show. That's in the show notes. But before we get there, of course, welcome to the #1 most premium Pokemon Sleep podcast on the internet, where we talk about Pokemon Sleep every week.
As we should.
Because no one else is. I went to the old power plant. I think I'm the only one here on the show who has old power plant unlocked. As of this morning, I was Ultra Rank 1. My spawns were Pikachu, Eevee, Quaxley, and Magnemite. Yeah, it feels real good being at the old power plant. I've seen 1 Aeron, no Shinx, no Grubbin. It's a real.
How's the music though?
Oh yeah,
music is good.
Okay,
good music.
All right.
That's the important thing.
That is the most important thing. That's the most important thing about Pokemon Sleep is the music. Okay, so it's almost like you predicted this last week when you said that we shouldn't go to the new place, especially midweek, especially because all the new spawns are going to end up on green grass tomorrow or today as this comes out.
Yes. We talked about that event last week where you'll have the option if you have old power plant unlocked, you can go to old power plant or you can go to green grass. I don't know why. Like if you're a hardcore player and you have old power plant and you have Pokemon to go there, I still think it's beneficial to go to green grass and then just use an easy travel ticket and then just move to power plant. Assuming you don't have everything maxed out, because if you do have everything maxed out, then that 5% would go to old power plant anyways.
Oh,
like,
right.
Like I have everything maxed out except Snowdrop. But
it'll go to Snowdrop if you don't.
Yeah, it's going to go to Snowdrop if I don't.
For sure.
There is, besides old power plant being added, there is some news here off PokemonSleep.net. Response to inappropriate conduct. It's just like the title of this article. They said, "Thank you for playing Pokemon Sleep. This is an announcement about our response to inappropriate conduct within the app. We will be strengthening our response to inappropriate conduct so players can play the game with full peace of mind. Using unauthorized tools or programs to conduct a considerable number of sleep research sessions. Inappropriate conduct such as above is a conflict with our terms of use, and we will be taking measures such as suspending the user's account if it is detected in either past or future gameplay. Obtaining a sleep score of 101 or more in a day via inappropriate operations. For players who obtained a lot of rewards via inappropriate conduct, players' restrictions may be implemented for several days while we collect fraudulent obtained rewards. We plan to make fixes in the future. I do like the concept of people hardcore cheating in this game. If it's like,
Yeah.
Because why?
Right. It's not even, there's no competition here. It's just for your own benefit.
there's no competitive sleep yet. There might be
Yeah.
one day.
There is in that one video. That one very, very good video.
Oh, the April Fool's
the April
one.
Fool's
Yeah.
one, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. When I saw that, all I could think was, I don't even know how people are doing this. Like,
Yeah.
I never hit like 80% or a sleep score of 80 or higher, let alone, I was like, I have no idea what like they could be doing to get 101. And I know there's like, I'm sure a million people could tell me, and that's fine. I don't
You got
need to know.
pregame. You got pregame.
He's like extra pre-gaming though.
Yeah,
101.
Like, obviously they wouldn't tell you how they're doing it, because then that would lead to more. I don't know what they're doing to do that. There was like a very early on, before Bobby was playing Pokemon Sleep, there was something where Hannah and I talked about it, where people were figuring out how to like max their Pikachu like right away, and then that was like the first like cheating, was like they got their Sleep Cat Pikachu to like level 80 or something, even though it couldn't go to level 80.
And then what? Like,
then you get more berries.
Great. So because of this, they're now at the power plant this week catching more Pikachu.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
The thing about this that is interesting to me is that they do say past or future. So it's like they're not even just saying like, here's a warning for the future. They're saying, if you cheated in the past, we're looking into that as well. And that's, you don't see that as often when the response comes out, like when the actual, we've seen this in Pokemon Go a little bit, where they've said like, hey, we know this is happening.
Yeah.
We're going to crack down on this. Stop doing it. This is like, we know this is happening. We're going to crack down on it. And if you've already been doing it, be worried.
Yeah.
Which is a little
the bullet where
scary.
they're saying that the point where they're saying that players who have obtained a lot of rewards by doing these cheating things, they're going to not only restrict your accounts, but also go into your account and take back those items that they can take back, is kind of wild.
Yeah. I mean, rightly so, because it is their game. They don't want people to cheat, but it's like threatening. It's almost like, it's kind of scary to hear that.
It's just clear communication. It is exactly what we have learned to expect from this team, and I appreciate it.
I don't know. They're like, so dream shards, huh? Those are some nice dream shards. It'd be a bummer if something happened to them. I don't know.
I mean, this is like a thing in like gacha games, like Genshin Impact or whatever other gacha game you're playing, where people would spend $100, $200 on the currency and then tell Apple that like their kid accidentally like bought it, and then the developer would be like, okay, that's fine, but now you are negative 30,000 gems in this game.
Yeah.
And unless you go and spend the money, you're not going to get out of that deficit. Like, you're just you're just negative 100 going forward.
Yeah. Well, it's still just, it baffles me because it's like, you're not getting anything out of this. Like you're not getting,
They're
you're not
getting
getting
numbers
ahead.
to go up.
You're
They're
just
getting numbers to go up faster without putting in the work that you have to put in to get the numbers to go up faster in this
sleep.
game. Yes.
Yeah,
just
it's-
have
You
to
like seeing
sleep.
the numbers go up. This is why you've gotten so hardcore in this game. Bobby, you are more hardcore in Sleep than I am.
I am, however, but yeah, I'm not gonna cheat to get ahead. Like in fact, I will say so. Since the Apple Health and the like smartwatch stuff has come out, I've been pretty much using, like, my Go Plus Plus is sitting on my desk. I haven't charged it in like 2 weeks, so it's probably not even it's probably dead right now. But I've been using my Apple Watch, and honestly, I feel like I don't know if it just doesn't track my sleep well. I like this morning I woke up and it said I woke up like 2 hours prior. And so I only, so then that obviously translates to sleep. And then my sleep score was like 30 points less than I thought it should have been based on literally how I woke up. Like I woke up and was like,
what if
oh,
you
I'm
cheated
awake
for those extra 30 points?
Honestly, I will say, honestly, I think that same thing happened to me this morning with the watch tracking, Bobby, because I
Yeah.
woke up briefly just to get up and go to the bathroom around the time I would normally wake up on a weekday.
Mm-hmm.
And so it thought I was awake. But then I went back to sleep for a couple of hours and that didn't get counted.
See, that's happened throughout the week. I've done that same thing and it does count it. This morning, I don't know what it was. Like maybe I was just moving around or something, but it definitely did not count it. One night this week, I will say, this has never happened. I've worn my watch many times to bed. I woke up middle of the night and my watch was not on my wrist anymore. Somehow I took my watch off in the middle of the night and it didn't track any sleep that night, unfortunately, in Pokemon Sleep. So I missed a day.
Which watch band do you have?
Just like the regular, like the sport, like it's got the little dot, it's got tucked underneath. I have no idea how
I think I've had that happen once in years of tracking.
I was shocked. I was like, how did
it's
I
very
take my
weird.
watch
It's
off
a
in the middle of the
very
night?
strange experience.
Yeah. So yeah.
Hannah, you have the Aura ring, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Does that work with Pokemon Sleep?
It does not. It doesn't work very well with Apple Health.
Because I would assume that it would send the data to Apple Health and Pokemon Sleep is looking at Apple Health.
You would assume so. It doesn't send the data to Apple Health. It reads data from Apple Health sometimes. Some data.
What if it sends it to Google Health and then Google
Health?
That
might work. I don't know for sure because I haven't had an Android, but I have a feeling that might work.
I didn't think about that because it does say there are specific devices that it works with, but if it's just getting that information from the health app of the OS, then that shouldn't really, because I know on the Apple side, it's the Series 3 watch and above. But I don't know if that means because those are the only ones that those must be the only ones that track sleep through Apple Health.
Yeah.
Since it's pulling it from Health anyways. What I haven't tried is adding data to Apple Health. Because this morning I almost did that. I wanted to be like, I want those 2 extra hours because I slept 2 extra hours than it told me I did. And I wanted to add the data to Apple Health, but I wasn't sure if that would then say, oh, you don't get to use this for Pokemon Sleep because it's like you manually added something to the health app. So if anybody's done that, let me know because I would like to. I'm sure it's on Reddit or something. But if you've done it, I'd like to know if that does anything because one, I feel like that would be. I can't imagine it would work because then you could just cheat it by just adding in the data to Apple Health every morning. But I don't know. Seems weird.
We'll find out in a month where there's another news article being like, we're cracking down on Apple Health cheaters. How dare you get to 120 sleep score?
Please, nobody make them regret connecting the watches to Pokemon Sleep. I want this to keep working.
It is even though I think it's the best because I just don't have to think about Oh, gotta go grab my Go Plus Plus. Gotta remember to turn it. Gotta remember to. As long as I don't take my watch off in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping, I'm good.
All right, to switch gears a little bit, this is off Pokemon.com. Visit the Pokemon Stellar Maze event in New York City on October 19th and 20th. If you're in New York City, find your way down to the Pokemon Stellar Maze located at 42nd Street near New York Comic Con in Manhattan in celebration of the upcoming Pokemon trading card game expansion, Surging Sparks. This interactive experience is packed with energy. Be sure to explore the Stellar Mirror Maze inspired by Paldea's Area Zero. Then look for plenty of places to snap the perfect photo with giant Pokemon TCG cards and other cool displays. Don't forget to pick up some cool Pokemon TCG swag while supplies last. This is at the Lavin, Midtown, New York, which I don't know what that is. Also, is Comic-Con happening the same time?
It must be, because it says it's not affiliated with Comic-Con.
Oh, I see. No badge required to enter. It is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on October 19th and through the 20th. So just 2 days. What is the Lavin?
It looks like it's an event space.
Oh, I think this is where they held No, I lied. I was going to say, I think this is where they held and remember when they brought me out for like the anime thing early?
Mm-hmm.
Horizons.
Yep.
It is not the same space as that. But that was an event space somewhere in New York.
I'm sure there are lots of event spaces in New York.
Yeah, it's a pretty small city. I don't know.
This looks like a really cool event, though.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who, back in 2015, went and just sort of walked around New York Comic Con and realized there's not a whole lot you can do outside the con if you don't have tickets.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a cool, fun thing you can go to if you don't have tickets.
Yep. I didn't realize it was like that at New York Comic Con, because at San Diego Comic Con, there's a lot of things you can do if you don't have tickets that are just surrounding the convention center.
I've gone to a lot of conventions where there's just a lot of outdoor gatherings and people hanging out, and that was not the case with New York Comic Con.
Interesting.
At least in 2015.
Yeah. What's kind of weird about this to me, and I get that it's just that they're trying to get people hyped up for Surging Sparks, but like Surging Sparks isn't coming out for like another 3 weeks after this event.
November 8th, I think is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like when they say like, come pick up TCG swag, you can't pick up any Surging Sparks TCG stuff because it's not out yet. But I do wonder, I'm assuming like the giant Pokemon cards you can take pictures with will probably be from Surging Sparks, since they have released a few
probably.
of them. And debuted a few of the cards. But I think that's pretty cool. I think it'll be a nice little, especially because there's no ticket needed or anything. And if you're already at New York Comic Con anyway, you can pop out and go check that out. I assume it'll get somewhat crowded.
I have a quote here. Quote, we are always looking for new ways to surprise and delight the Pokemon community, including innovative and interactive experiences that allow trainers to engage with Pokemon TCG, in addition to collecting and playing with cards, says Barry Sams, Vice President of Pokemon TCG at the Pokemon Company International. Experimental moments like this create magical Pokemon memories, and we can't wait for our fans to explore all that awaits in the Stellar Maze.
Yeah, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's cool to go to events like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how like big it will be. And what I mean by that is like if you're waiting in line for 2 hours for like an 8-minute experience, is that like really worth it? Like is when they say maze, is it like an actual maze, or is it just like a hallway you walk down with some cards?
Yeah, right. That's fair.
Yeah.
And if there is, did they not say there was stuff to buy?
They did.
Yeah. TCG
so it's like
stuff.
Again, are you waiting 2 hours getting in being like, oh cool, the only thing they have is
a gift shop?
Like
it's just 2 hours for a gift shop for old cards.
Right, that you could easily get at Target.
Yeah, I
Right.
hope it's more than that.
I didn't have this in the show notes, but real quick, the Pokemon Company did. This is also TCG related, so they did a collaboration with Geek and Sundry,
Mm-hmm.
which I remember. I am old enough to remember when Geek and Sundry started. It was started by like Will Wheaton and Felicia Day, I think, and maybe a couple other people.
Oh, was Felicia Day part of that? Or that started it?
Yes, It was started by those two, and it was very like board game. It was when I was into board gaming, and there was like this board gaming boost. I was doing a board gaming podcast at the time, so it was very much like a thing of like they took advantage of what was like definitely popular at the time.
Board games are still popular. I would argue they're maybe more popular than they were then.
Probably. As somebody who is not in that space anymore, I'm sure there are still hundreds of Kickstarters of new board games and everything.
Yes, there absolutely are.
Yeah, definitely still popular though.
I don't. I'm pretty sure. I'm very confident that both Will Wheaton and Felicia Day don't have anything to do with Geek and Sundry anymore. And also in my personal experience, I forgot they existed. And then when I went to their YouTube channel, they didn't post a video in a full year. And then a month ago, so they took a whole year off. And then a month ago, they teased a new D&D thing, which is what you would probably know them for, is like D&D thing. And then they suddenly did a collaboration with Pokemon, and I think they have like 3 episodes of that. According to the Pokemon press release, a 3-episode miniseries for Stellar Crown Showdown premiering on Geek and Sundry. Those are all out. One was with Terry Crews. One was with Jacob Batalone. I don't know who that is. And then one was with Abigail Breslin. I don't know who that is either.
What?
Maybe
Little Miss Sunshine.
I know of that movie name.
I don't.
What? Really?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think this collaboration is that weird because Geek and Sundry did like card games and board games and that stuff. I do think it's weird of how does this exist? Like this YouTube channel was dead for a full year.
Someone was trying to get back up and running and made a deal. That doesn't surprise me.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they had a pretty big they've had a pretty big following for quite a while, right? So that can still have some holding power as well. Just because they took a break. And I mean, you know that they don't have YouTube. They didn't do any YouTube stuff for the last year, but have they been doing other things over the last year?
I always thought they were primarily YouTube because that's how they debuted.
That can happen. I had honestly thought that maybe they were one of the channels that had moved over to, and I know almost nothing about them, I just recognize the name. I figured maybe they were one of the channels that had moved to one of the more exclusive subscription-based content websites that many of those types of channels have moved to at this point.
Like a Patreon? No, that's a good point. I just think like the deal of not making videos for a year and then coming back and then working with Pokemon is like obviously it happened, and if there are people who know people, that's like the easiest way it happens. It just seems a little weird.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
people know people. Conversations happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think Will Wheaton was a founder. I have a founder was Felicia Day, but I believe Will Wheaton was on a lot of early stuff, but it doesn't look like she's associated with it anymore.
Yeah, it does look like they're really jumping back in with stuff. I'm just looking at like their video history, like you said. So it was like a year ago, then like you said, a month ago, and then they've kind of been just in the last month. I feel like they've pumped out like 8-9 videos even before the Pokemon Showdown stuff. So
Yeah.
It looks like they may have been. It looks like Geek and Sundry may have been dealing with a lawsuit from Will Wheaton in the last couple of years. So maybe that's why they weren't making any videos.
You know what's funny is somebody asked on Threads who was a celebrity that like you had a bad experience with. And I literally just responded to this like 2 hours before, and I didn't even think about it. But my answer was Will Wheaton. That guy was one of the biggest jerks I've ever met in real life. I saw him at Gen Con, and the way he just interacted with everyone around him was so off-putting.
That
So
sucks.
for Hannah to be like, I think they're dealing with a lawsuit. Like, yeah, I think that checks out.
I mean, I've liked some of Will Wheaton's. I don't know. That sucks. That's all. Yeah.
never meet your heroes, Steve.
I wouldn't say he was
Yeah.
a hero, but it was like, you're on that YouTube with the board games, and that's cool. And then you like, maybe you're not that cool. I don't know. Maybe somebody else had a better experience meeting him, but I didn't even like get a chance to like talk to him. It was just like close enough to observe how he was like talking and communicating with other people, and I was like, ooh. Maybe I get out of this line right now. So Geek and Sundry was founded in 2011. It launched its official channel in 2012, 12 years ago. Felicia Day left in 2016, so 4 years after starting it.
Okay.
I wonder if this is like a situation where they sold it to somebody, or there was an exchange of like, we just want to buy this brand, and this brand has this archive of videos, and now it has to be something like that, where now there's a new team behind it who is doing this new D&D show. What is it called? Goblin Mode. And those people had connections with people at the Pokemon Company, and they were able to do this Pokemon thing. Which, like, I don't know, you have a YouTube channel with 2.3 million subscribers. There's probably some value there, even if you haven't posted a video in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's possible. I like the fact that you like really have to figure out how this is possible.
I think that's the most. I think how a dead YouTube channel comes back with a Pokemon collaboration is way more interesting than watching Terry Crews just play Pokemon.
I think the answer is the 2.3 million subscribers number and connections.
Yeah. I mean, Terry Crews playing Hydrapple got 97,000 views, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
People like Terry Crews. People like Hydrapple. It's a good combination, I guess.
That is a really good combination. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap the Korea event, and then we have the new Pokemon scam to talk about. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. There are 4 big Pokemon Go events for the year, one being the Wild Area in Fukuoka from November 16th through 17th. Then there's going to be the Global Wild Area from November 23rd to 24th. Then Pokemon Go City Safari Hong Kong, which is December 7th through 8th. And then Pokemon Go City Safari in Brazil, also December 7th and December 8th. And I just got back from Pokemon Go Safari Zone, not to be confused with City Safari, Incheon. And I think as a Pokemon Go event, I think it was really good. Which is funny because this is the one Niantic didn't pay for, and I'm saying it's good, and the one Niantic did pay for, I'm saying wasn't that good. I think the one in Jakarta was like completely fine, but I just think that like the problem. I don't want to say like Jakarta was the problem. It was just like really hard to get around, which I think I expressed that episode. And I think like why part of the reason why I personally like Pokemon Go so much is being able to explore and walk around. When Pokemon Go first came out, that was like everyone remembers that. Everyone was like going to parks and walking around and seeing people. And then kind of as Pokemon Go grew and got stale, this is just my personal experience. I was playing at the time with people who didn't want to walk. They wanted to get into a car and they wanted to drive around popular areas and like drive slow enough to like get the spawns. That's how they wanted to spend community days. That's how they wanted to spend events. And I hated it. I just didn't like, I think we've all been a passenger in a car playing Pokemon Go, and it's fine.
It rarely works.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, like yes, it is okay. Like I enjoy walking. I enjoy being able to like walk a city, and I think that was my biggest downfall to Jakarta, because it was like this area is really cool and now I've explored it, and do I want to sit 35 minutes in traffic to another area I haven't been at? I don't know how big that area is, and that's like part and part of like me not knowing the city that well. But I think like as an event, like nothing was like broken, like everything worked. It was fine. Like I had a good time still.
And I mean, to your point, there's one thing where it is you're playing Pokemon Go in a car and you're playing the entire time. You're going to a place where you know you're going to get spawns by like slowly driving around and all the passengers are playing. Which, disclaimer, like I live in a place where I can play outside year round, so I do get it for like places where it's really cold for a good part of the year and you
or
just
really
like
hot,
can't, or really
just
hot and you
extreme
just like
temperature
can't play
in either
outside
direction.
walking around. So like, not saying like you can't play that way or like that's like worse to play. I mean, that people play how they want to play.
Yeah,
but
I'm just saying my preference is walking.
Yeah, same. But to your point, you're also talking about not only playing Pokemon Go, but having to travel along like for 30 to 40 minutes to play Pokemon Go in different areas, which is like that's even different than actually
that's
playing
almost
Pokemon
closer
Go in
to
a
the
car.
rural experience in some ways, which is why people in a lot of rural areas just can't and don't play.
Yeah.
So that experience at Incheon, so the just if you didn't listen to last week's episode, Jakarta was a city experience. You could play anywhere in the city, and there was really like 8 designated spots where they were like, here is where you should play. Not like should, but like these are recommended play areas where there will be a lot of spawns, will be a lot of stops, will be the EV stops so you can get the EVs. Incheon was in a park, and an absolutely gorgeous park. Not the biggest park I've ever played in, but not the smallest. Gorgeous, really great. Weather was perfect. I mean, a little bit on the hot side, but very good weather. And then this was an experience where you would get one day in the park, and then anywhere in Incheon, and Incheon's the 3rd biggest city in Korea, very big, you could just play anywhere else. And it was, to me, a much better experience because it was so easy to get around and see new places. Like just being able to like get on the subway and even going like one station over, which is only like 5 minutes, and being like, okay, we're in a brand new area. Because like 5 minutes on the subway took us much farther than where we were. So just being able to like walk outside of the park and be like, here's a 7-Eleven, or here's a CU, which is like their another version of 7-Eleven, or here's a restaurant, or here's a Toys R Us, or here's a mall. Like you just didn't get that same experience in Jakarta, because like that little place that you're playing is all surrounded by roads and highways that like there's not like a park you could walk over to, or there's not like a small like Kobini you could walk into and just like get something. It was just like, you're here now, and if you want to leave, you need a car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they also had like, I didn't get a chance to do it. They also had like tour bus set up. So you could get on a tour bus, take the tour bus to another stop, get off, play in that area, because the tour bus would come every hour, and then get back on the tour bus and then go somewhere else, which I think some players did in New York, because New York also has like tour bus during the New York O Fest. So it was set up much better. But again, when I complained last week about it, I just think the city choice of Incheon was a good choice,
Mm-hmm.
as like a city that is set up with buses and subways and cars and bikes and taxis and Ubers. Like but also you could just walk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whereas Jakarta was you have
Yeah.
you have bikes as in motorcycles, not like bicycles, and you have cars. That's it. Those are
Yeah.
So I had a really good experience. It was like spawn wise, like not that exciting. The difference, there was no EV spawns at this event.
Right.
I think EVs are for city safaris.
Mhm.
Okay.
This
Versus
is
Safari Zones.
Safari Zone. Both had Skidoo,
Okay.
but the difference was the Safari Zone had the Skidoo wave at the start of every hour for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So all the Pokemon would be Skidoo on the hour for at the start. And the other thing they did, which Jakarta didn't have, was in field research, the Safari Hat Pikachu or the Skidoo could have a Incheon background behind it.
Oh, okay.
Which was cool to have. Whereas in Jakarta, they had the Megalatios and Megalatias, because it was technically like Pikachu's air adventure as well.
Mm.
And those two Pokemon had the Jakarta background behind it sometimes.
Right. Right.
So that was like cool to see. But I think overall the spawns in Incheon were not that great. But also, like, even though that's like a negative, 100% a negative, to be like, the spawns to this event is not that great, it does almost like alleviate some pressure of like, I need to play super hardcore, where it was like, okay, I don't feel as bad taking longer to get lunch, or
Right.
taking or like on Sunday I missed the first 2 hours of the event because I was recording the podcast, but I was like, it's okay. It's fine.
Right. Right.
Like,
were there any timed researches that needed to get done during the event, or I guess for either event? Was there anything like that?
Both had timed research, but they were the easiest things in the world. It was,
Okay.
give your buddy 3 berries and pet them and catch 15 Pokemon and spin
Sure.
5 stops. They were like the easiest. And I think both awarded Skidoo at the very end.
Okay.
Also for like the park experience in Incheon, there was no egg bonus, there was no raid bonus, there was none of that. The only add-on was, do you want to play in the city on your non-park day? Whereas the city safari had egg bonus, raid bonus, lover, it had more add-ons. So
what was the length of the Jakarta event, Pokemon Go event, and what was the length of the Incheon Pokemon Go event?
Jakarta was just 2 days. It was just Saturday and Sunday. Incheon was 3 days. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you were to watch my Twitch streams for Friday, you would have the perception of like, no one is coming to this event. Like, where is everyone?
Got it.
It looked and felt so dead.
Really? At the park, you mean?
At the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I talked to a couple Korean YouTubers, and they all said the same thing, which was, it is really hard for anyone who has a 9-to-5 job in Korea to just get off on Friday.
Interesting.
And Friday was amazing in the park because it wasn't busy. You can move around easier. There was no lines for anything. Cell service was great. Saturday, not as good. There were dead spots in the park all of a sudden. There were just a lot of people. It was a little bit hotter on Saturday, and because my service wasn't as good, we played mostly outside the park, which was totally fine.
You were special in that you could have gone to the park all 3 days, right? Whereas most attendees are only going 1 day, and then their city experience the other 2 if they choose to buy that expansion to it.
Yes. Even though Niantic did not pay for my hotel or flights in Korea, I did have the special content creator ticket or whatever.
Right.
So I could see spawns in the park all 3 days.
So a standard player who had bought the ticket for one of the weekend days, if they had been running into those dead spots and the spawns weren't very great, this may have not been a very good event, maybe?
Even if you still had the park ticket, it still worked anywhere.
Yeah, but you want the park to work.
But yeah, you want the park to work, right? I mean, that's kind of the idea for a Safari Zone is the park experience, I guess. Was there a merch stand at this event at all?
No merch.
Well, they have Pokemon stores there.
They have pop-up. They have a lot of. They don't have Pokemon centers there, but they do have a lot of. They do have events where there are Pokemon pop-up stores.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And Toys R Us does have collaborations with Pokemon, so because there are still Toys R Us in South Korea, they usually have a Pokemon zone inside.
There are Toys R Us in America, by the way.
So
people are aware.
There's literally one down the street from me. I keep forgetting, but yes.
Yeah, if you go, I mean, I'm assuming this is what you mean, but like I know for here, if you go to a Macy's department store, there's like a Toys R Us area within those department stores, at least here in California.
Yeah, Mall America has a Toys R Us.
Okay, got it.
And it smells like Toys R Us.
Is it like a standalone Toys R Us store?
Yeah, or is it standalone?
Oh, really? Okay, so I didn't even know they had that. I just thought.
Yeah, it's very big too.
Interesting, because when they started to come back, they were within department stores. I believe it was Macy's had them as an area, and so like around here, that is how it is. So like they don't have a standalone Toys R Us store, but there's a Macy's like home store where they sell all the like furniture and bedding and stuff, and there's also a Toys R Us like area within that department store. So yeah.
Yeah, it was both events were good, and both events were different enough to warrant having different names. I still think that's very confusing for like a casual player, like City Safari / Safari Zone.
Well, I wouldn't think it would be that confusing, except that the Safari Zone has a city experience.
Yeah, so at this point.
It's like, that is like the City Safari at that point. The other 2 days that you're not playing in the park is like a City Safari, because you're just able to play in the city.
The Safari Zone is a City Safari, but they also got the permit to be in a park, so they can name it something different.
Yeah, I guess. And I mean, you do have to pay for the park or for the city portion of a Safari Zone.
You can't just buy the city. You have to buy the park, and then
the city's an add-on.
Add on the city, yes.
Yeah,
it's like I feel like the only thing signifying the Safari experience is Skidoo at this point.
Right. That seems to be. But like that's fine though. I mean, what they're really trying to do is just have events in other places, right? And they just want to give them a name.
Yeah.
So, that's okay. Like different names, I mean, we have this wild area now coming as well, right? Like how is that going to be? Then now we have all these different events, and that's fine as long as it allows them to get into more countries and cities. I think that works out well. I will say, do you think Did you have a good experience? Your whole travel experience that last couple of weeks, would you say that was a good experience? Going to Jakarta, doing the event there, going to Korea, doing the event there, coming back. Did you enjoy yourself in that
Yeah,
time?
totally. I think I don't think every Pokemon Go event has to be like a Go Fest. I actually think Go Fest is kind of stressful as like a player. To like try to catch everything you want, but also like stop and say hi to people. And everyone has like different preferences and different tolerances, right? Like even when me and Hannah were doing that our raid train, like there was a balance of like, are we going too fast? Are we going too slow?
Mhm.
And there were
Where
some
did we lose
people,
the group?
yeah. And there were definitely some people that like left the raid train, not that they weren't having a good time, but they were like
We weren't
spawns
going
in.
fast enough, and the park wasn't helping.
Yeah. The park was very big, but also the spawns in the park weren't as good as the spawns in the city. So if you wanted to
Yeah.
see 2 times or 3 times the amount of Pokemon,
Mhm.
you were better off going back into Midtown.
And it
Right.
wasn't
And
just spawns. There wasn't really signal
yeah, there
in the
was like a
park.
weird dead spot near the lake in the middle of the park
Kind of
that we had to
necessary
like.
for a game like this.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the it's one of those things about Pokemon Go, and it kind of like most Pokemon games, that is, it's good and it's bad, right? The fact that you have the option to do so many different things and play so many different ways is great, right? If you want to do a bunch of raids, you can do a bunch of raids. If you want to try to catch 47 Zacian, you can try to catch 47 Zacian. If you want to catch a bunch of Pokemon and not do any raids, you can do that. Like, you have so many different ways to play the game, and I think that's great. But it also makes these events like a Go Fest, where they want to incorporate all those ways of playing the game, stressful, because now it's like, I've got a raid to get this stuff, and I've got to catch all these Pokemon to do this thing, and there's a
Yeah.
research over here to do that thing, and I have 2 days
Yeah,
to do
where
it all.
there are research and goals and awards and medals for all of these different things that you might not always focus on every single one of.
Right.
And there's
And
just a lot of that happening at the biggest events.
right. And I feel like for most of the time, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, right? When there's not like a big event going on, like I can go raid, or I can just catch stuff, or I can do nothing. I can, take a break. But when the event comes and, it's like, well, here's what's at the event, and you're paying for this event, you kind of feel like, well, I want to get the most out of this. I want to do all
Yeah.
the things the event is providing me. And then all of a sudden, 2 days goes by and you're like, I need a break. Like, I all of a sudden realize I was really stressed out the last couple of days trying to complete everything. And, that's where, like I said, it's good and it's bad. I think more good than bad. Like, having all the options to do all those things is a good thing, but it can definitely wear on you a little bit, especially in those bigger events.
Yeah, I think Niantic did a good job of announcing some of these events early. Like we've known about both the Hong Kong and Brazil pretty early, and I do wish things were a little bit earlier. Like this is my third time going to Korea. The first time I went was 3 years ago in Goyang, and I paid for that whole thing myself. Last year was in Seoul. Niantic did pay for that, and then this year in Incheon, I paid. Ultimately, I paid for that. You could maybe say, well, I left Jakarta on a flight to Korea, and technically Niantic paid for that. They were supposed to send me home, but I was like, no, just send me to Korea. I want to do this event too. So I did have to pay for my own way home. But like, if this is like the Korea thing, I would always want to plan my visit to Korea around this an event of this sort. I don't really care what the event is, but I think going to Korea at the end of September, early October is always good weather-wise. I've always had a great time. I get to do Pokemon Go. Technically, I get to write that off as a business expense. And like, I love Korea as like a country of like to visit. So it just like lines up perfectly. There's another event coming, another Pikachu's Indonesian Journey event happening in December. And it's like, who knows if there's a Pokemon Go thing attached to it? There probably will be, because there has been every time. But like, would I go back to that? No, because that's expensive. And then there's the conversation of like, am I going to go to Hong Kong or am I going to go to Brazil? And like, I thought about that, and then they announced Fukuoka, which is like, I can't go to every Pokemon Go event. And this year specifically, I definitely came away from Go Fest being like, 3 Go Fest is too many.
Yeah.
It's like I went to the one in Japan in Sendai. That was great. I went to the one in Madrid. That was great. And then I went to the one in New York. And there's a cost thing to that. Like, I paid the entire thing to Japan. I paid the entire thing to Madrid. I paid for the entire thing for New York until literally the last week, where Niantic was like, well, you can at least pay for your hotel. And I was like, that's very nice of you. Sure, I'll take the free hotel, because you didn't pay, like, and I don't expect Niantic to pay for everything, but sometimes they have budgets. Sometimes they want certain creators to show up.
Yeah, going to 3 Go Fests is not a problem most people have. But my impression, as someone who's only been to 2 Go Fests and hasn't been to a Safari Zone, just because travel is not usually a thing that I can do for one reason or another, money or time or anything like that.
Yeah, or just like getting off work.
Yeah, exactly. My impression with these different events is just that the big ones are really, really good to go to for community. Go Fests, or even the yearly regional tours, can be really good to go to for community. But things like safari zones or city safaris are much better to go to if you're there either as a local and you can travel there really easily, or if you wanted to go there in the first place.
Yes.
And you already had the means.
Yeah, like if I, like many people who probably listen to this podcast, love Japan and want to go back to Japan as often as possible, right? Like, it's a cool country. So like, when I'm thinking of, okay, do I have the funds or the budget to go to Japan next year? I would ideally, in my head, line that up with GoFest, right?
Yep.
And that kind of restricts my like travel dates, but also like, I want to do Go Fest and I want to go to Japan. So, but I can't afford to go twice. So let's just wait until they're together, and then I can knock out both at the same time. Anyways, they have now announced the wild area, which, now that we know a little bit more about it, it does seem maybe better than a Safari Zone, but not as good as, I don't know, because like Go Fest is like the pinnacle, right? Like, Go Fest is the thing that makes them the most money, the thing that they hype up, the thing they actually want you to travel to. So nothing's going to be as big as that. But the other thing that we didn't mention with the Safari Zone and the City Safari is like the tours, like Hoenn Tour and Sinnoh Tour. I think are worth traveling to. Personally. So this seems like a step maybe above Safari Zone, but definitely below, or not, I'm going to say Unova Tour, but Sinnoh Tour or Hoenn Tour. They're bringing back Dialga Palkia in their origin form. They're debuting the Safari Ball, which in itself is pretty exciting. They're introducing what's called mighty Pokemon, which are Pokemon that are more likely to have higher attack, defense, HP, more likely to be XL or XXL, more difficult to capture. That's not a benefit. They can also be shiny, and then using the Safari Ball on them will increase catch chances. I do like this thematically, the mighty Pokemon, because if you've ever played Sword and Shield, there are in the wild area like Gengars and Snorlaxes and what are supposed to be mighty Pokemon. I don't think they ever use the word mighty, but like, it does, like, I get what they're going for thematically. That's cool. And I think for a casual player, seeing a Gyarados in the wild that can be shiny and that will have decent stats, probably exciting.
Gyarados might not be the best example because it can
Gyarados
already be shiny. But
Maybe
there
not
are
the best
others
example.
that they're introducing that could not. I think there are others. Maybe not. I'm looking through the list of mighty Pokemon. Most of them are Pokemon that have had
community days.
community days.
I have never seen a wild Tyrantrum. So seeing
Yes.
that in the wild, pretty, or Electros, right? Or Dragalge. I don't think some of these Pokemon could ever spawn. Like, I don't think a Mamoswine could ever spawn in the wild.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen
Maybe,
Mamoswine, but I
but
can't remember where.
Very rarely.
I think it's fine. I do think the addition of the Safari Balls is cool, but it's not like, kind of reminds me of like the Beast Ball, like the way that they did the Beast Ball,
Yeah.
right? Where like you're only catching specific, like it's cool to catch Necrozma in a Beast Ball, but like
Don't get me
there's
started on
nothing
that.
more to that. Like you don't get to collect them, you don't get to have them in your storage, like, you know. And this is kind of the same thing that's going to happen with the Safari Ball. I think I even saw that it said like after the event is over, the Safari Balls go away. So like it's not like you're going to be able to keep them and then use them anywhere else, which is fine, a little bit more thematic, right? But still, like, you know, I don't know. I kind of hope they don't end up doing this for like more Pokeballs where it's not like we're going to be able to keep them and store them. We're going to have to use them during
Like you said,
events.
with the Safari Ball, that's pretty thematic to be giving the Safari Balls back at the end of the Safari Zone. That matches with what we know from past Pokemon games.
But that's where it should be, at Safari Zones.
I was going to say, you would think the Safari Balls would be available at Safari Zones.
Yeah.
Or City Safaris.
Yeah.
I think I do like the introduction of the Safari Ball in the game. I think that's cool. I think I share the same opinions as what I've been seeing online, which is the spawns between the electric hour and the poison hour don't seem that great. I think the debut of Toxtricity is cool. Really interesting that there's no Gigantamax form. It is just Dynamax Toxtricity. And then Toxel being in 10k eggs is like, whatever. It's a baby Pokemon. Of course it would be in eggs. Like, we said this about Sinnoh when they announced Sinnoh, and we were like, it's so close to being good. And they did add a couple more things like leading up to Sinnoh, and we're like, okay, like they added enough where it feels better. I do think that this is missing something. That I'm gonna be the guy that says this. I think it's missing a hat Pikachu. Like there is they're like an electric hour and there's no Pikachu spawns here. Like they have to be announcing a Pikachu closer to the event.
Yeah.
It is. I think the one thing that is kind of weird about it is that it's an event similar to, say, a Safari Zone, similar to a tour, similar to something like that. And then they've really restricted what is actually there. So like you said, like electric and poison is kind of weird that those are the only two types of Pokemon outside the mighty Pokemon that are going to be spawning. Am I missing, like, are there going to be other stuff spawning, or is it literally just going to be electric and poison Pokemon for 2 days? Like,
for the record, we are talking about the global one. They haven't really shown specifically Fukuoka, which usually in person is better, but they're saying it's going to be electric hour, then poison hour, then electric hour, then poison hour, and then these mighty Pokemon will appear on Saturday, and these mighty Pokemon will appear on Sunday. I'm assuming the mighty Pokemon are going to be sprinkled in between the poison and electric hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're like, for an hour you're getting 12 different spawns plus mighty Pokemon sprinkled in, which is 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 8 different Pokemon each day.
But I mean,
Yeah, but usually they have rotations of 4 different habitats. Having rotations of only 2 different habitats is a little strange.
4 is Go Fest. This is half the Go Fest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, to your point, like I feel like it's on the cusp of being like a good event, but there are things about it that make me feel like I'm gonna be, and maybe this is not a bad thing. Maybe like the fact that it's 2 days and there's not a ton going on means it is open to more people like being able to play for shorter periods of time, right? Like, so it doesn't feel like I have to play for, from 10 to 6 both days, things like that. But
I think the people who do play 10 to 6 both days are in the minority.
And they're going to have a lot of Spinnerack and Voltorb.
I mean, like, I do wish Niantic would like maybe reveal some demographics. I don't think it would benefit them in any way, but
no.
I've been to so many events where people leave like after lunch, maybe 3-4 o'clock. If the event is going till 6, people are leaving. They're done for the day. Like it's really, if you're paying attention and if you're in the park, well, most people wouldn't be in the park every day because they wouldn't have a ticket. But like I had a friend who came out from Seoul, which was for them, they were on the far side of Seoul, so it was a 2-hour train ride. They got in, they literally played the event for 2 hours, and they were like, "I'm good. It was fun. I'm okay." And then they left, and that was it. They didn't do any of the add-ons. They came to the park, they got their pictures, they walked around the whole park like twice, and they were good.
And that is fine.
Right? Yes, it's a totally valid way to play. It's just not how.
Yeah. I 40 minutes ago I was talking about how GoFest makes it's too stressful because there are too many different things to do. I can't really go back and say there's not enough to do here.
Yes, no, it's very good to not be as reliant on that fear of missing out and just be able to say, "Yep, I'm good," and call the event when you feel like calling the event. That is an important thing to be in tune with yourself. It's just sometimes fun to play the entire event.
Yeah.
Also, both are good. Both are fine.
But I will say the fact that it's like an so like just going back to the event as it is, not like needing to play the whole thing or whatever, but Electric Hour, Poison Hour, that's very much like a research day, right? We've had research days, or was it research? Yeah, research or maybe incense days. Incense days.
Yeah.
Where it's like a 6-hour event and it is electric and poison or maybe steel and ghost or something like that, and it just switches back and forth for 6 hours. That's what this feels like.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel as much like an event as much as well, I guess those are events too, but it doesn't feel like
some weird incense day stretched in the direction of a regional tour.
My guess would be that there is something else here that is going to be in Fukuoka, but they need to get something out to start selling tickets.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe they will have like Gigantamax Toxtricity in Japan
Fukuoka
or something.
Specifically,
they could do something like that because it, to your point, it feels very weird to introduce this as a wild area and not introduce a Gigantamax Pokemon in it.
They're also saying that these Toxtricities are in 4-star raids. They're not even saying they're in. They're not even saying they're in Dynamax raids.
Really?
Huh?
Hold on.
They have. Well, maybe I
missed that.
Feels like maybe a typo.
It's what is a 4-star raid?
A 4-star raid. A 4-star raid is the raids that appear after Community Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're using the icon and they're literally saying 4-star raids for Toxtricity on their website. And they're saying all of these raids can be accessed with a remote raid pass in addition to raid premium. Only Pokemon caught from max raid battle encounters as well as their evolutions can be Dynamax during raid powers. But they're saying that Toxtricity will be in 4-star raids.
But 4-star raids are local.
Yeah, so are Dynamax.
Supposed to be local.
That's why I'm very confused. Because they're not saying Dynamax raids. They are saying the following Pokemon will appear in max raid battles, and then they're showing Toxtricity amped and Toxtricity low key. So, and in a different section on the website. I don't. It would be a really big typo to put 4-star raids and the image of the egg that represents 4-star raids, and then do a whole nother section for Dynamax raids, which has Toxtricity amped form and Toxtricity low key
I'm seeing
form.
what you're talking about now.
So are they putting Toxtricity in 4-star raids, which, to Bobby's point, are local only, but then turning on remote raid passes for them so people can just remote raid for Toxtricity? And then are they also just putting Toxtricity in max raids as well, because those are different raid areas, right? They don't take up where gyms are.
I can't imagine there's not a typo in here somewhere. I have to just assume that the 4-star raids, that they are going to be in 4-star raids and they are going to be in the max battles, but that the 4-star raids are still going to be local only, because that would be weird to switch now.
But I do understand, like, because of how they're doing Dynamax Pokemon, and it not being that every Pokemon can Dynamax, and then they still want people to be able to raid against Toxtricity, and so maybe you don't want to raid against the Dynamax Toxtricity, you just want one that's not Dynamax. Gives people the ability to do that.
The only reason to put a Pokemon in a 4-star raid is to make it local only. That's literally what they exist for.
Well, no, they exist for community day to go longer than... They exist because people wanted a 6-hour community day like they used to do, but they wanted to do a 3-hour community day. So they're giving people that wanted that 6-hour community day a way to do that in some way.
4-star
they're
raids are
clearly
weird.
stating on the website, these will appear during raids, and then there's a whole other section saying these will be appearing during max raid battles, and Toxtricity is in both.
Yeah. Yes.
And by the way, trainers may even encounter shiny Toxtricity if they're lucky. So that is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I'm very confused why anyone would... I'm not confused why somebody would, if you could remote into a Toxtricity raid, I'm not confused about that, because people would want that for their decks. But if you have the option in person to do Toxtricity or Dynamax Toxtricity, you would do the Dynamax.
They're two totally different things. People may be prepared for one of those battles and totally unprepared for another.
Yeah, so for one, to do a Dynamax Toxtricity, you're going to have Dynamax Pokemon that are available to battle that Toxtricity. And right now, there aren't any that are going to be good against electric poison type Pokemon at the moment, like a Dynamax Pokemon.
What do we have? Might get a ground type move.
But right now it has max whatever the normal.
You can change its max move.
Oh, can you change it to a ground?
I know you can change it to dark. I don't know if you can change it to ground.
Okay.
It's
so
the max move is based off the fast move.
Yes, not the charged one.
Yeah, so you can like I have a Dynamax Charizard with max Airstream or whatever, and then I have a Dynamax Charizard with max Flare.
Right.
For different situations.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to be very different raids, and you're going to have the right Pokemon, especially to do a Dynamax raid. Also, the Dynamax raids are only going to be in person. Most likely, you're not going to be remoting into a Dynamax raid, right? Because that's how they've set those up. It's going to be very different, I think. But I don't know. Again, this event seems okay. I mean, it's a free event, right? I mean, there is a...
it's not free. It's $12, I think, isn't it?
No, for the bonuses, but the event itself is free. There's like an add-on to it, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right? I'm not...
The global ticket is $12, and you get an encounter with Toxtricity. Bonuses. You get up to 5 raid passes. You get an increased chance of Toxel. You get 6 special trades. You get half egg, 2 times candy for catching, higher chance of shiny during the event, So yes, you're right. The event is free. I am safe. The weather is nice outside. But if you wanted the extra raid passes, the special trades, the half egg, the double candy, then it would be $12.
Yeah. So I mean, it being a free event for the parts of it that are, the poison hour and electric hour and the raids and I don't know. That's fine. I think that's fine. I feel like, again, it could be a little bit better, but
I'm sticking with the interpretation of this feels like an incense day stretched into the shape of a regional tour. Because this is the payment style of a regional tour. This is kind of the event style of a regional tour in some ways, but I also think that with regional tours, they have, at least with the last one, introduced an exciting new thing at the very last minute to get people hyped. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
And it'll be Pikachu wearing a hat.
It'll probably be a Pikachu wearing a hat.
All trainers can enjoy the gameplay and the bonuses during the wild area, whether they have a ticket or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ticket's a little expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Like
$12.
I don't know. You're getting 5 free raid passes a day. So if you're saying a raid pass is $1, that's $10 out of the $12 if you're doing all the raids. Sure. Like half egg, you could argue that there's value there. Double candy, you could argue there's value. I don't know. You could, if you're going to play both days and you're a hardcore player, sure, $12 is probably nothing based on what you've already spent on incubators or raid passes, right? Like, but yeah, it seems a little expensive.
The bonuses are pretty good, though. I will admit that. All of the bonuses you get for paying for the ticket are pretty good bonuses, and it's a lot of them. So, trying to see the benefit of that there.
Yeah. And
do you think it's interesting that some of the Pokemon that are going to be able to be shiny, to your point, like haven't been shiny in the past? Like, it looks like there are some Pokemon. I guess it's the mighty Pokemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just seeing some of those evolved Pokemon that you usually can't see that evolved Pokemon in the wild as shiny is cool.
Yeah.
Too.
Most of them you've been able to get shiny in the past if you evolved them, but you haven't been able to encounter them as shiny in the wild before. That is usually reserved to Mega Pokemon.
Only.
Yeah.
And that one time during International Women's Day when Nidoran female, Nidorina, and Nidoqueen.
Yeah, Nidoqueen could be shiny. I got one of those. I got a shiny Nidoqueen. All right, let's take our last break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the last 2 things we have on our notes. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Before we get to the scam stuff, we're really leading up to this. Pokemon UNITE is shutting down in Belgium and the Netherlands next year due to loot box restrictions. We actually didn't talk about this last week in regards to TCG Pocket, but TCG Pocket isn't available in some countries, the same ones, I believe, Belgium and Netherlands, because of ultimately loot boxes. This is off Eurogamer. Pokemon UNITE is being yanked offline in Belgium and Netherlands from November next year amid countries' ongoing crackdown of loot boxes. All versions of UNITE, Android, iOS, and Switch will be pulled from digital stores on the 30th of November 2025, but subscriptions and in-game items will cease to be available much earlier. They will no longer be able to be purchased as of October 31st of this year. The Pokemon Company did right. We'd like to thank our players in Belgium and Netherlands for their support, and we apologize for any inconvenience. While there's no reason for the game's termination provided by the Pokemon Company's statement, the decision is ultimately mostly related to the loot box restrictions in Belgium and Netherlands. Loot boxes have been illegal under Belgium's gambling law since 2018, although enforcement has been patchy, while the Netherlands government continues to pursue loot box bans and close a loophole that let EA off the hook in 2022. Pokemon UNITE, which features a loot box style mechanic known as the prize machine, wouldn't be the only game to say goodbye in Belgium's and Netherlands. Activision Blizzard scrapped Diablo Immortal's launch as a result to the current operating environment for those games, as well as the original Overwatch, which had their loot box removed per the restriction. There's some more there. If you want to read the article, it is in the show notes. But yes, when TCG Pocket launches for everyone at the end of this month, it will not be launching in the Netherlands or Belgium because of technically gambling.
That's unfortunate, I guess. I mean, I don't see either side of these. They're not going to change their game to work for Netherlands and Belgium, I'm guessing, and I don't see those governments backing down on what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that loot boxes are a good thing. That's the tricky thing here.
I don't think they're going to change their game, since they already said we'd like to thank our players for their support.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, definitely not.
Not going to have these games available in those countries.
Well,
right, like their option is to modify it for those countries, but it sounds like that's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is how much money are they getting from those, right? How much money are they bringing in from those countries? If they were bringing enough, they would probably change their game in some way. I know that there are also, we've seen this with other companies, and I mean, I'm specifically here, I'm talking like Apple against the EU. We've seen it where, one company tries to say, we're just going to say no and hope that the people in your country are mad enough at the government to get you to change your laws. That doesn't typically work. So, but it does kind of sound like that's what they're doing here with like these games. They're like, well, okay, we're out. Bye. And if the people in your country are mad enough about that, maybe those laws will change. I don't think they're going to. I think this is just what it is, and these games aren't going to be available going forward, and that's a bummer. But yeah, I can't say I love loot boxes, but they do exist.
Yeah, so. I did see some people, small amount of people, I guess, because the Netherlands is not that big compared to America or other countries. But I saw them like tweet at Joe Sarabia of like, can you explain why Pocket isn't going to be available in the Netherlands? And it's like, are you asking this because you live in the Netherlands? Because if you live in the Netherlands, you should maybe be aware of what your country's laws are.
Really?
Not necessarily.
You want people in their
do you
country
know
to
all
be
of the
aware
United States laws?
Yes, I do. I read them every night before I go to bed. Sweet land of. But it's not like this is a new law, and I felt like everyone heard about the EA stuff with the loot boxes. Like, I thought that was pretty big in gaming news when that happened 2 years ago.
Even if it was big in gaming news,
I think people start to hear government, like, or laws or politics in any way, and they just kind of shut it off in a lot of ways.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it's like, it's the Pokemon company or any video game company would want to be everywhere if possible, right? Because that's the most amount of money. But to have your game in how X amount of countries, but you need to change it for one specific country. And again, I'm not picking on the Netherlands. They're just not a huge country, right? They're compared to other countries.
Few countries they're going to do that for. One, obviously China, right? Like, everybody changes their stuff for China because of how much money they're going to get being there. That's just not that. You're not going to have that same thing happening in most countries. So,
but yeah, this is not a problem that is like with Pokemon games. It is a problem with any game with a loot box.
Yeah. Kind of a problem with the gaming industry, but not one I see changing anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
There's probably an argument of like, this is the correct thing to do for like Netherlands to be like, we don't want games with loot boxes in our country because we find that they hurt more than they help, or they're not fun, or they're predatory. 100% agree. Like, I think the only way this ultimately gets changed is if that spreads to more countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like all of Europe.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think it's I don't know for sure. This is not my area of expertise, but I don't think it's a priority for most places.
Right. Doesn't even sound like it was much of a priority, even though they had these laws in place. They, like they said, they were like patchy at like actually doing anything
Well,
about
that's
them.
not abnormal. That's actually kind of normal.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. Did either of you know what like the gambling laws are in those countries? Is there no gambling in Netherlands or Belgium?
It's on my reading list tonight.
Because it sounds like they're likening this toward that, and so I'm curious as to what the gambling laws in those countries are.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that Blizzard, which is also a very big gaming company, like just like pulled Diablo Immortals, which you make fun of Diablo Immortals all you want, but that game makes a lot of money regardless of if you think it's bad or not. The fact that they didn't even care to like change their game and they were just like, we're just going to pull it is, I think, just a sign of like, this market is not big enough for us to care.
Well, and the fact, I mean, the thing is that they make all this money off of their loot boxes.
Yeah.
So if they change the game to not have the loot boxes, what does that even do for them anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
Money's coming from there.
I don't know if there's like a worry of like, if we make I don't know. Somebody maybe can answer that in the YouTube comments or in Slack or Discord, who's maybe smarter than I am. I don't know if it's, if you change your game for one country, like we're going to release Pocket, but we're going to remove the loot. I don't know what you would do there, but like remove the loot boxes or change the game where there are no loot boxes. Do people then just like VPN into the Netherlands because they want that version of the game? And then that becomes a problem?
I think it would be more if game companies start to make a new version that works for that country where there's no loot boxes, or where it's changed, then do other countries start saying, whoa, you can do that? Like, let's start tightening laws to, if other countries aren't on board with that as much either, maybe like other countries pop in and start asking like, well, then that version should be here too. I don't know. Like, is it one of those you build it and all of a sudden other countries start saying, oh, then we want that in our country as well?
Yeah. I mean, from the developer standpoint, it would be annoying to be like, we need to bug test and feature test for two different versions of the game and make sure that this works.
And when there's competitive aspect, that complicates everything.
Yeah. And again, they're making their money from the loot boxes. So if they change the game to remove that, what is the point from from their business standpoint? They want to make the money. So, yeah.
I don't know if we can spend another hour talking about Niantic, but I know the question is going to be, well, why is Pokemon Go allowed?
Right.
But their loophole, whether you like it or not, is very clever, which is you're not technically buying loot boxes. You're buying an item to unlock an egg,
the loot boxes,
which is already predetermined when you get it.
Yeah. Or you're unlocking the ability to battle 47 Zacian.
And you don't have to pay anything technically.
Yeah.
Because you get the free thing that you can just, if you got 9 eggs, you can technically open all of those for free.
Yep. That's true.
You just got to walk a lot.
Gotta walk a lot, and they'll all end up getting transferred for candy anyway. So
Yeah. There could probably be a situation where the Netherlands would look at that and be like, no, this is a loot box, but
I mean, I'm skimming their laws right now, and I think that Pokemon Go has a pretty solid loophole as far as I can tell, but
yeah.
I mean, they really do. I mean, when you look at what you're buying from Pokemon Go, you aren't buying a loot box. Like,
yeah.
Right.
as much
yeah.
as you can say what you want, but you're buying an item to speed up time, right? That's all you're doing when you're buying, like, and you're buying an incubator. You're just speeding up what will all already come from something for free, which is different than actually buying a loot box.
Mm-hmm.
It's not any
Right,
better,
like-
but it's different.
Yeah, I'm like thinking like, what if you could throw away eggs and get more eggs, but like in what?
I was thinking of that too, but I don't think that changes it enough. You're still
No,
not
I don't think that
buying
changes it
the
enough
eggs.
either. Because
Yeah.
like, who is buying like 10 loot boxes and being like, I'm gonna throw away these 9, so the game gives me more? Like it's such an interesting loophole to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think when they designed it, I don't think that was ever the intention either. Like
Honestly, I don't know. Probably not. But I don't know. It's definitely worked out well.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go is still available in these countries.
Sure is.
Mhm.
Sure is. All right, let's get to our last article of the day, which isn't even an article. It's just a product on PokemonCenter.com, which as of this podcast is sold out. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think it debuted on Monday or Tuesday, so it hasn't even been a full week.
Mm-hmm. It
was
sold out real
that
quick.
day. Yeah.
Oh, was it? It was still in stock when I was looking at it.
I thought it was that day or the next day, maybe. It was quick.
But this is if you want to see it, PokemonCenter.com. It's called Special Delivery Box. I think this is a huge scam, but we can talk about it. It is $49.99. And it says we are expecting to ship this product in early November 2024. So this is a pre-order. They're saying special delivery box now available for pre-order, exclusive to the Pokemon Center. Inside, you'll find collectible items like plush, TCG, figure, pin, clothing, accessory, and more. And it'll arrive in a shipping box with a reversible, reusable design with a lively print, which is kind of cool. This delivery box can be a fun surprise gift for Pokemon fans in your life. Each box will come with 10 items recently available for purchase on PokemonCenter.com. It will include possibly 1 figure, 2 plush, 1 pin, 1 hat, 1 set of card sleeves, 4 booster packs. That's it. That's what it will contain. And then they have pictures of what could possibly be in it. And if you look at the pictures, also they have pictures of hats, but they didn't say in the thing. Oh, it does say
They
one
do say
It
hat.
says hat. You get
One
a hat. Yeah.
If you look at the pictures, you're just like, these are the things that are not selling. That's what you're putting in the box. I mean, that's what every mystery box is in the entire world, not exclusive to Pokemon, is like, we have a bunch of product that we cannot physically sell. If we say that you're getting a mystery box, you don't know what's going to be in it. We're just going to put the things that you didn't want to buy anyways into the box. To be fair, I don't have like a huge, like from a business standpoint, makes complete sense. From a consumer standpoint, I have never liked mystery boxes ever. Like you can go to like a Comic-Con or a C2E2 and there are people that are selling mystery boxes for like $50.
But
Yeah.
yes, I agree with you. However, I will say that the items in here, if you buy them all separately, I believe, do add up to more than the value of the mystery box.
Yes.
Which, when you
very
typically
quickly.
buy a mystery box from one of those places, that is not the case.
That's
yes,
true.
the ones
The
you're getting
value-
at Comic-Con.
Yeah. Or even one thing I like in this too is, especially because they do come with packs of cards, is if you go into, say, like a Walgreens or like a CVS, they will have these mystery boxes that are packaged by third-party companies.
Oh, those are a scam too.
And they're way overpriced. It'll be like $10 and you may get a chase pack. You end up with a pack of Silver Tempest for $10, which is a $4 pack of cards. Like that's what it ends up being. So those are, I think, definitely scams. This, what you're getting, at least adds up to the amount you're paying. That is more than the amount you're paying if you do like all of these things, collect all of these things.
Because the figure is probably like 15, plush is probably like 10. So right there, you're at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Pin set is like what, 12? Hat is, I don't even know how much a hat is.
I
$20,
feel like
maybe 25.
The prices you're saying are even lower than what they actually are. I don't think a plush is 10. I don't think a figure is 15. I think they are more than that these days.
Really?
I could be wrong. You two buy more things than I do off Pokemon Center.
The figures of like the Skitty, the Meowth, the Phanpy, the Meditite, those were all pretty new figures. And they were coming out once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they sold at all. Like, yeah, no, I'm looking at the Dedenne one right now, which just came out, and it's 15.
Okay.
The Munchlax is 15. Yeah, all these figures are 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
plushes did hit the Pokemon inflation this year. They did. The plushes have gone up in price.
Yeah, I will say, like, even the Sitting Cuties, when they first came out with this, which these are not, right? These are not Sitting Cuties. These are just like other plushes because they have Paldea.
Could be Sitting Cuties,
but they have Paldea in these.
Yeah, but the ones below the Paldea,
like
that Charizard is the Sitting Cutie Charizard.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they were like 10 when they initially came out, but I will say I just bought a couple Sitting Cuties on a re-release, and they're like 18 a piece now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
they're super expensive now.
Could be more like, that's like 40 for two of those almost, and then so I think that the amount definitely is above the $50. And I do think it's funny on the packs, they do give you some different sets that it could be, and then they throw in Sun and Moon, which I'm assuming that just means like Sun and Moon base set.
Do people want Sun and Moon base set? Is that even sought after at this point?
I would say people do like getting packs from older eras. So yeah, I mean, I think that would be sought after. But it's 4 packs and there are 6 options here. So you are getting, and those are like $5 a piece, so that's like 20 there. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool, but
I think this is like they did it the best way they could with not like when I see some of the boxes from Comic-Con, and legitimately they're like $50. They're like the little square Pokeball boxes, and they do it for like Pokemon and Harry Potter and Marvel and G.I. Joe and Digimon, right? Like you just see a wall of these, and you'll see people who buy like 4 of them, and they're walking around with 4 of them, and you're just like, there's no way what you're getting out of that is $50 worth, and you did 4 of them right away.
You have to go to a few conventions to learn that.
Right, sure.
I feel like when you
and those people are getting taken advantage of. But I remember the earlier this year, I don't remember which of it was, probably whatever Comic-Con was not New York Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con?
Whatever was earlier this year. Maybe it wasn't Comic-Con itself, but put on by the same company of Comic-Con.
Okay.
What is that, like Reed Pop or whatever?
Don't know.
Yeah. but I found a Reddit post of somebody complaining about the Pokemon box. And they said it was supposed to be more than $50 worth of value. And they opened it up, and it was like 1 booster pack. It was like some Pokemon suspenders. It was like a Pokemon mug. It was like Pokemon like very cheap balloons that you would like blow up, and then like a luggage tag. And they did the math, and it wasn't $50 worth of stuff. And then I went on Twitter and I found another person who had the same experience, and they had almost identical things. Like instead of it being like a Snorlax mug, it was like a Jigglypuff mug, right? It was like the same products, but like not like, but again, not $50. And then I went on it was like Blue Sky or whatever. The one time I used Blue Sky, and again, somebody else was complaining, and it was like all the comments were like, these are a scam. I'm like, why you bought in? So to Pokemon's point, 2 plushes, a hat, card sleeves, it's more than $50 for sure. Totally.
Of
And the
loot boxes, this is far from the worst loot box available. This may be one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And maybe for like a kid who doesn't know what they want, this would be like a great birthday present or like a great Christmas present.
I was going to say, I love that they're marketing it as a present, because I think that that's really what it's better as. I think even today, I know what I would want from the Pokemon Center, but if I were to get one of these boxes as a gift from someone who cares about me, it's just Pokemon stuff. It'll be fun to open, even if it's not the things I would want the very most. As a gift, I think that that is great. Would I buy it for myself? No. If I bought it for myself, would I be disappointed? Probably yes. But I think as a gift, it's great. Especially the cool box that turns inside out and then it just looks cool and you don't have to do any wrapping or anything like that. I think it's neat.
I do think it's unfortunate that box that turns inside out does not come with it is the shipping box. So if
it
UPS
gets damaged
or FedEx, it could, and it does say that in there, like the box could get damaged, and it's the box that everything comes in. So sorry if it gets damaged. Also, final sale items, you can't return anything,
right? Because like you're gonna open it up and be like, I got Charmeleon and Ivysaur. I don't care about these 2 Pokemon. And they're gonna be like, I got a Meditite figure. No one likes Meditite.
Ouch. The one Meditite fan out there is not happy with you right now.
Yeah, I don't wear hats, so like the hat being in the box is completely worthless to me, right? Like I have so many Pokemon card sleeves that are unopened and not used from Elite Trainer boxes that like a random 65 pack of sleeves is not going to do anything to me. I think the Pokemon Center still comes out ahead here because they probably have so much merchandise that just didn't sell, right? Like who is buying this Meditite figure? I know that there's like 5 people listening to this podcast that like love Meditite. They probably ordered this Meditite figure. You're not allowed to complain unless you did specifically order this Meditite figure. So I don't want to see your comments unless you yourself bought this Meditite figure as a Meditite fan. But they probably have so many of these Meditite figures because it's just not as popular as a Charizard or a Pikachu or an Eevee, right? And I think the Pokemon Center comes out ahead because keeping all of these unsold figures or plushes or pins on a shelf is costing them money because they have to pay for storage. They have to pay for that inventory. So I do think it's clever that they came up with a really cool box. I think there is value there if you're a parent and you're like, I don't know what to get my kids, or you have a friend that's really into Pokemon, but they don't tell you what their favorite Pokemon is, or they don't tell you exactly what they want. So I understand why this is sold out.
Yeah.
Really, just don't go to a convention and buy one of those third-party Pokemon boxes is what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah. But people also like the mystery of these things.
Yeah.
So
I could definitely see cards to be like, I don't care about the mystery.
I could definitely see people buying this for themselves, though. I could see people buying this as a Pokemon fan, just as someone who likes Pokemon stuff, Steve, the amount of stuff you've bought from Pokemon Center.
But I know exactly what I want, right? Like,
sure,
every sitting cutie I want, I bought. Every figure I wanted, I bought. Like, even looking at I like Fanfi a lot. I think Fanfi's a cool Pokemon, but like that figure, like I know the quality is not very good.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there are people who like Pokemon, maybe haven't thought like, oh, I want to buy like this specific plush or that specific plush, but they look at the items here and they're like, I like Pokemon. I like the items on here. Like it's fun to get like a mystery and you don't really know what you're going to get. And then they open it up and it's a surprise. Like I totally see people wanting to buy this for themselves as well. I don't think
Especially
that
when
this
this
sold
is
out.
one of the better value
Yeah.
mystery boxes.
Yeah. I just don't think it's sold out on people that are like, I'm buying this for someone else because I know they like Pokemon, but I don't know like exactly what they want. Like I think that's there, but I don't think like that is why this sold out, especially as quick as it sold out. I think this is a majority of people probably did buy this for themselves.
Maybe.
Again, just because of how quickly it sold out, I really do think that they're gonna like. I do wonder if you will see these being resold.
Well, yes, I think that might be an aspect of it. I think
Oh,
that
boy, I
the
didn't even
box
think
is
about
an
that.
exclusive item that people are probably going to try to resell.
Yeah, I haven't
but
checked eBay.
I also think that we are getting to the point in the year where a lot of people are looking for gifts. Starting to.
Yeah, it would be it would be cool if like the special delivery Pikachu came in these boxes.
Yeah.
But that would also just lead to people.
The card?
Yeah.
That card's worth like $150 right now.
Yeah, but
Not
Pokemon
if
can
you
always
make a
change
bunch
that.
more of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not if you overproduce them. They're not.
I just think for how quickly it sold out, people who are looking to buy things for other people, I don't think they stumbled upon this and then were just like immediately buying it. I really don't. I really think that this sold out because of people who were buying this for themselves or who are Pokemon fans. Like, I don't think there was a bunch of people who were looking to buy things for someone that came on the site at the same time within a day and got this to sell out.
I think this is the same problem as conventions, though, that people see a loot box and they just impulse buy it.
I'm really curious to see what the reviews are going to be on this box.
Yeah, we can do a whole segment of reading reviews. It doesn't ship until November. But like, even like when I'm at a convention, I am so curious of what's in that box. And I know that's part of why people are buying it, right? They're like, oh, what could be in it? Like, but I know that it's just junk. I know that it's nothing that I would actually buy. That's why it's in a mystery box.
Mm-hmm.
But like me, I went out of my way to be like, somebody on Twitter, somebody on Reddit, somebody on social media would definitely post what's inside the box, right? They're gonna and then once you see what's in it, you're like, oh yeah, it was exactly what I thought. I saved money, all right? But like, so this selling out is not surprising because I think there is an impulse to be like, oh my gosh, I want to see what's in it. And they did clearly lay out what's in 10 items. 4 of those are going to be booster packs.
You don't usually get that with a mystery box.
Yeah, it literally shows what you're like possibly going to get, like for each thing, each section of it. So
yeah, so like to me, what's going to be in it is 2 sitting cuties that sold terribly well. That sold terribly. So like Kakuna. Somebody's going to get a Kakuna. Who is out there buying Kakuna plushes? No one.
That's
like,
not true. I have seen people enjoying the Kakuna plush.
I think it's the items you're going. I think it's the items they show on the image.
Not for all of them. Not
really?
For all of them. I can't imagine.
Items you may receive are shown in the image gallery.
Yeah, I think they're showing like sitting cuties, definitely, and then the top part is like the Galar stuff that probably, or not the Galar.
I definitely thought it was like the specific ones they're actually showing. It's going to be one of those.
There are not going to be Charizard plushies in these boxes.
Yeah,
but
there's
the
no
Charizard
way.
plushies and the Pikachu plushies are very much in stock right now, for these things. Like currently.
Yeah, I'm sure one person will get a Charizard. Maybe they made way too many Charizards. But like, do you think they're sitting on too many Charizards, or do you think they're sitting on too many Quillfishes?
Oh, like, okay. Now I'm actually more interested. I definitely thought it was the specific ones that are in these images are what you're going to get.
What are the 2 worst Pokemon I could possibly get in plush form? Please and thank you. Here's $50.
Okay. So the figures that are the 7 figures you don't think are somebody's going to get those, but you think there are other figures that people might
Yes,
get that are not
because
one of these
there was
7?
12 of them, and they all like, if you think about the Year of the Dragon pins,
Mhm.
they sell out instantly.
Yes, they do.
These figures none of them ever sold out, and there was one every month. They even hyped it up in the newsletter of like, I remember them all being silhouettes of like, oh, what are these? Like I think there's a Mimikyu one that just came out or is coming out, and maybe that one will sell better than like the Meowth or the Bagon.
Okay. I read the
But
items
like
you may receive are shown in the image gallery meant like the items you may receive are the ones you see in the image gallery, because they explain what you're going to get right above that. And then in bold, they say items you may receive are shown in the image gallery.
I
That
think the
makes me
word
think
"may" there.
the items you may receive are one of the options in the image gallery.
I don't think your only sitting cutie choices are Eevee, Charizard, Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Charmeleon, Slowpoke, Charmander.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I think they are.
Somebody's getting a Metapod.
We'll know actually, my daughter got a Metapod. She really likes Metapod. She has the Metapod sitting cutie.
Somebody's gonna jinx sitting cutie.
I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see in November, I guess.
Also, I can't imagine that the starter Pokemon, Fuecoco, Quaxley, Sprigatito, I can't imagine that those sold poorly. Like, there are some really bad 3-packs of pins that they must be sitting on. Like, I'm sure some people will get like a Sprigatito 3-pack, right? Like, but
some people have to, right? They're not going to showcase these and then not give anybody that.
Yeah, but there's no universe where Sprigatito 3-pack is not outselling the Nidoran male 3-pack. Like, I am sure there's somebody out there that loves Nidoking, and loves Nidoran, but there are way more people out there loving Sprigatito. They have to be sitting on so many Nidokings. Also, a 3-pack of pins is now up to $18.99. Those used to be $12.99.
Yep.
Those used to be $12.99. I just don't think Roly-Poly, Carkol, and Colossal are selling that well. They're going to the whole point of this is to get rid of your inventory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But are these, I mean, yeah, except it does say that each special delivery box comes with 10 items currently or recently available for purchase online, which would mean that those items aren't available to purchase now. Recently available?
Currently or recently.
So that's interesting, because if they were trying to get rid of product, why would they have stuff that isn't available to buy currently as things going into these mystery boxes? They were recently available.
They could just have like a bunch of like old like hats or sleeves that they're just trying to get rid of.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the sleeves that people are getting are the Van Gogh sleeves. Like, the Van Gogh stuff went back up on Pokemon Center.
Yeah,
and it's that. Like, it's the plush, and it's like every variation of the card sleeves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still no Smeargle mugs. Sad. Still sold out of those mugs. I don't know. I'm now interested in what people. I didn't buy one. I didn't buy one either. But
there's some YouTuber out there that bought like 10 of them. Oh, it says purchase limit one. They probably made 10 accounts, but like, I'm sure that's going to be a YouTube video of like, I opened 10 special delivery boxes.
I guess that does stop people from reselling them. If it was only a purchase limit of 1, you could resell one of them, I guess.
Could. There's probably, if you were like boy, this is a real business episode. If you were a vendor at like a convention, at like I don't know, like a nationals or something, or regionals. Regionals is probably a better example because I think they allow third-party vendors. I could see a vendor pay $50 for this, and then they can sell the plush for $15. They got 2 plushes they can sell. That's $30. They can sell the hat for $15. They're up to $45. They can sell all the booster packs separately, right? Like if you were a reseller, you make your money back here, assuming
as long as you sell.
As long as you sell. But like value wise, there is more than $50 worth of stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if you got one and you're watching or listening to this podcast a month later. Tell me what you got in the comments. I would like to know.
We gotta know now.
You gotta know who got the Kakuna. Somebody out there is getting a Kakuna, 100%. Kakuna and like Bellsprout. No one's buying Bellsprout. Ain't no one buying Bellsprout.
No one's getting a Kakuna. I'm saying it right now.
Somebody is getting Kakuna.
No, they're not. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
There's no way they produced and there's no way they sold out of Kakuna plushes.
I'm not saying they did. I just don't think anybody's getting a Kakuna.
Why would they keep those in stock?
Yeah, they're still in stock.
Like on the back end, they're gonna be
Pikachu's
like,
still in stock.
We sold, yeah, because they probably Pikachu has more plushes than like all 135 other Pokemon combined. There ain't no way. There's 32 reviews on this Kakuna plush.
I'm sure the people love it.
I'll read one of them. This is from where's the name here? Amber. This is from Amber. Favorite Pokemon being Lavani, and they also put down Guzma as a favorite human. They gave it 5 stars, titled A Very Yellow Bug. Best bug. Peak plush design. It's very grippable. Fits in the hand, sits on my bed. I don't know what else to say, but I feel like everyone should own this plush. Plush is a great addition to my Beedrill line. Very good. Bug emoji. And then there's a picture of them gripping the Kakuna.
Mm-hmm.
They're between the age of 20 to 30. And then Pokemon Center responded, "We appreciate your feedback. It's great hearing from our fans." I like the comment.
Makes sense. All of this makes sense.
I just want to say that the Kakuna plush is a 4.9 out of 5. That's pretty good.
It's a great plush.
Anyone who's going to purchase it is going to purchase it very intentionally. We know that.
That's true. That is true.
And now they have too many, so they need to put them in a mystery box. Somebody ordered too many Kakuna plushes. That's all I'm saying. This episode has gone on too long. If you've made it to the Kakuna part of this episode, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please join our Patreon. I need to use your money to buy a Kakuna plush. Okay. Well, we'll be back next week. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. Thank you, Bobby. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super real hyped to find Shinx in Pokemon Sleep, I hope. Eventually. Maybe soon.
Mm-hmm.
Effective.